Hello everyone, I'm Professor Tony Pacenski. I'm a 3rd degree Gracie Jiu Jitsu black belt. This is my student Tim. He's one of my pro belts. He has a lot of martial arts experience. Today we're going to look at what would be the standard of the mount escape called the bridge and roll. You will find that the standard that's taught is flawed. And about 5 years ago, Hicks and Gracie brought to the table a higher standard. And he pointed this out to the jiu-jitsu community. Some of us know this, others do not. Others continue to teach in an old way. And that methodology of how to teach the upa escape, it's flawed and it's dangerous. And I want to have you look at particularly how I move my body, the details that I present. So we're going to start off with the standard of what we think it is and what the new standard is, or the higher standard in where Hickson was going. And for additional resources in that, you can follow me, Tony Pacenski, on the YouTube and the websites. But more importantly, connect yourself to the Jiu-Jitsu Global Federation, the JJGF, and you can discover all these invisible elements in the curriculums and what a lot of people worked very hard on to create for you. And it doesn't matter if you're a higher level black belt in Jiu-Jitsu or just all the way down to just learning how to tie your belt. This technique is critical to learn, and the ideas and the principles are even more important. All right, let's get started. Lie down, please. All right, so mount escape, taught often in introduction lessons. The person is bigger and stronger than you. You can say to the student, hey, how do you get out of this? I know it's a dangerous position. We'll forecast the idea. Don't worry about the punches. We could do that in a future lesson. But the person's here. How do you get out, Tim? And typically what happens is the newer student, they struggle. They go left and right. They push me. Go ahead, Tim. And I have my base here. Often, I don't let them grab me. The person rolls. I let the person roll. And then we get into tap the mat. Very good. So bigger, stronger people, they get choked out. They realize that that's not the escape. And then what is taught typically in the old standard is the upa, or the bridge and roll. The guy comes on top and he's holding you down. You got me, Tim. Good, good. And then I do my movement. And everything works. That's the idea, without anybody on me, of trapping the same leg, same side as the arm, one side. Hook the wrist, hold the elbow, trap the foot. 1, 2, 3. Now the idea is, in the old standard, which is dangerous, is hips up, bridge, and then roll to your knees. Here. In the salesmanship of the technique, very good, we trap the arm here, trap the foot. People will point out, high-level instructors, how it's important to not hold with a C-clamp, because the person can lose the grip. If you hook with the monkey hook, the thumbless grip, go again. Good, it's much more leverage. This is a more refined technique. People understand that. Hold the elbow so he can't go up. Right. Versus this, up, I lose it. Right, so now down, I'm not squeezing, I'm just kind of holding, and my back muscles are being activated. And I say, hey, Tim, put your hand up for base. Not that one, this one. He can't do it because I'm trapping it. Now I trap the foot. As I do the move, I challenge Tim. I say, hey, put this hand out for base. Go ahead, go ahead. You can't do it. Look, put it out. It can't. All right, and now what happens is the salesmanship goes up. He's believing in the technique more. Typically, his hand goes north. And then I can bridge more, turn to my knees. Lay down, please. And you can do this with the full spectrum of students, from older to little children, a teenager. They can do this technique with someone that's bigger than them. Here's the problem. Well, here are some particular issues. This is fine. Everything starts off well. Trap the foot. When Tim raises his hips, this is the biggest power that he has. Come back. He's got to keep that momentum going. The moment he bridges up high and now turns towards his knees, he's losing. He already lost. He had a momentum, and then he did a secondary move. He did 1, 2. And what happens in the salesmanship of the technique, it's 1 and then 2. And the person puts their hand here. When he bridges up, goes up 1 and then 2. If I do this, go. It doesn't work. And I'm not doing anything technical. I'm not being a crazy person. I'm just putting my hand out for base. Not this one. So Tim said, put your hand out for base. Go.
Put your hand up for base.
How do we stop that? In the old standard, you can't. Perfect. When he lifts his hips up as well, not only is my hand stopping him, but his own shoulder prevents him a little bit from doing the technique. All right. Switch it. When I do the technique, based off the standards of the JJGF, the standards of Hicks and Gracie, what he brought to the table is very similar to the old standard, holding the wrist, trapping the whole sag. Now, instead of doing 2 moves, bridge and roll, Hickson did this. Came off the line a little bit, arched, 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 and it works. Because his movement, our movement should be 1. Take yourself off the center line here, and now when you arch your hips, you bridge and you don't stop. And your hips continue to be up in the air. Here, 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 good. Now my shoulder is not stopping me anymore. Bellying down my hips, look. Now I pop up to the knees. A critical detail in the old standard is when the person does this. They go bridge, roll, so that's 2 moves, which is flawed. The shoulder, 3 is another, second is another flaw. And then when the person goes like this and comes to the knees, their hips come back. So you are essentially disconnecting from the opponent's hips. You can't do that. You have to keep that connection, that contact all the way through. So, when I trap the arm here, I come off the line, I'm starting to arch, my hips are up, they're connected to his hips. Here, all the way through, here, boom. You're gonna need that against a higher level person that's stronger or more athletic. And then, you pop up to your knees. So if you're going to do a solo drill, it's no longer should be bridge and roll to your knees and get into a tight little ball. Although that does create a sweat, it's flawed. It's this. Okay. Lay down. Elbows in. Trap my arm. Good. Right there. All right. Head. Come back. Bring your head here. Good. Nice. You can look that way. Arch. Get this shoulder. Good. Good. Beautiful. All right. Now we're good. Thank you. Again, the purpose of this video was to inform you about something that's been around for about 5 years now. When Hicks and Gracie showed the new standard of the upa escape or the bridge and roll, he pointed out many missing details, invisible connection and things that were overlooked for so long. When you start to really break it down, if you were exposed to that information and you now see in your application, in your own experience, and just something that's different, that is now the new standard. And if you're not meeting that new standard, you're losing. You're doing something dangerous for yourself. You're teaching something that's out of date, that's not the best practice, and that's not right. We need to continue to learn. Now, if I put my hand out for base, Tim is going to be forced to do something else. He's going to go from the upa escape or the bridge and roll, which I no longer call it bridge and roll, I call it the constant arch, the trap and constant arch, as I just kind of phrase it like that. Because it's to say different words, to think differently, and to do something based on principle. It's a totally different thing. But the idea is your first move has to be excellent. You have to execute higher than before so that you don't need the second move. You don't need to be relying on the elbow escape. You have to look at moves in isolation. How can I do this extremely well instead of, with physicality, strength, I'll just go faster. You can't do that. my point of view at this point now is, can you always be justifying your principle in everything? According to principle, I can justify my move in each step of the way. If you cannot justify each step of the way, you're going to be left yourself with a challenge to overcome. And you need to overcome challenges in the jiu-jitsu, not with your physicality, not with your strength, not with your speed, not with everything that you're going to lose, but with your leverage, with your connection, with your alignment, with your pressure, with your weight distribution, with your pressure, with your posture. You know, how do you continue? We have this excellent movement working. How can I make it even better? And the only way you're going to know is to test it. So you tell your students, say, hey, put your hand out. And then the person puts their hand out and your movement still works. And then you're going to go back and I really need to refine what was considered the standard at my academy. What is the standard in my application? That's basically what the briefing here was today, the technique of the UPA. And again, if you would like to learn more moves, more principles, more techniques in this type of presentation, you need to follow the jjgf.com, Jiu-Jitsu Global Federation. You need to follow my YouTube channel. You need to follow me on the social medias. And when I can put out these nuggets of wisdom, you know, you're going to be able to move step like 10 years ahead, or look back at the last 10 years of your training and say, you know what, I really wish I could have done that 10 years ago. I wouldn't be injured. My technique would be better. I really just appreciate what the message is. And that's what happens when you meet someone that's coming from this. This is not I didn't get this technique just out of the blue. I had to reach out and, you know, meet with Hickson and learn the technique, and then he gave this technique to the world 5 years ago. And when I turn on the social media and I still see the old standard, I'm dumbfounded. I don't understand it. And I go, okay, well, maybe it's part of the person's business model. They're being successful. They're going to continue the old way. But at this point in my life, with the experience that I have, I feel that it's dangerous to continue an old standard that's flawed. All right, so please keep that in mind. In the past, when I taught jiu-jitsu, I was very animated, very passionate, and that comes out in my teaching, I feel. But now I'm different. I'm in the military, and things are much more serious. You know, we're talking about different situations. So my thinking, my age, I'm maturing in a different way, and you know, that's the idea. You know, I know there's times and place for me to be teaching jiu-jitsu for children, and I get really excited and get them involved in everything. And when I'm teaching with my wife, and that's a whole nother issue to be able to teach a loved one. And then you're teaching group lessons and things like that. But in this medium right now, if you only have 10 minutes to hear this video, watch this demonstration, and I'm throwing out names here and organizations that you can follow, because that's what you need. You need to know the fundamentals of jiu-jitsu. You need to be able to reform the fundamentals in a high way and go deep with your technique. And someone that's going to present this information is the president of the Jiu-Jitsu Global Federation, Master Hickson Gracie. And that has always been the mission, to try to make jiu-jitsu more effective. And if you're a practitioner that just wants to learn jiu-jitsu in an effective way, it's there for you. If you're a competitor, you want to be more successful in your fundamental techniques, it's there for you. If you want to learn the self-defense in a different way and learn how to improve it and actually test it more than just going through the repetition, it's there for you. And 5 years ago, it wasn't. Now it is. And it hurts my heart to watch people continue to say, yeah, it's there, the information is there, the practice is there, the standards are now here, but we're still here. Why? You know why. You have to go from here to here. And if people are going to get you there and they're going to help you, you need to go here. Because you could also go backwards or stay static. Even to stay static, you're losing. For you to stand still, you're moving backwards. So I need us to work towards moving towards the higher standard. That way we can, as a jiu-jitsu community, address the future things that come. You know, whatever it's going to be in corporation. And we're at a really critical time in grappling because everybody's starting to look the same. Judokas, BJJ practitioners, samboists, they're all like using each other's stuff. So it's getting harder and harder to see BJJ, judoka, because of rule sets and things like that. But when you take away the rule sets and you just freestyle, and we say, you know what, that technique is really good. I really like what you're doing there. And I do this, but yours is better. You have to know right there. It's like, I need to know this. I would like to do it like that. That's going to help me. And if I just stand there and say, you know what, that's really cool, and I understand the principles involved, and I choose not to do that, I'm getting past. I might as well not even, continue the journey, because it's not. I'm lost. But that's the point. I wanted to kind of point out all of these techniques today, and I'm rambling a little bit, but I might not have your attention again. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Tim, for helping me point out the higher standard, getting a little bit into the details that Hickson presented those days 5 years ago, and of course on his online platform with the JJGF and the JJGF.com. That's a great place to start if you're going to continue down this type of path. Thank you.